What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the upcoming stimulus package update, $3.5 trillion, the infrastructure package, which is expected to be voted on tomorrow, the government shutdown, which will happen tomorrow at midnight if they don't come to an agreement on that, as well as the debt limit ceiling, which the government will run out of money sometime around October 18th, and we will see the first ever government default sometime around October 18th, which Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says will be the first ever government default if they don't come to an agreement or if the Democrats don't pass through the reconciliation process, raising the government debt ceiling before that time frame. And we just had a bill voted on in the Senate where all the Senate Republicans voted no, essentially voting to let the government default and to let the government shut down. And can't make this stuff up, guys. We're going to be reporting on all of that here in this video, as well as new information on, we've reported on this in the past, how part of this stimulus package was to have the IRS looking into your bank accounts. Yeah, this is correct. Well, apparently the Democrats got a lot of backlash on this. The initial proposal was to, the IRS was going to be able to look into any transactions into your bank accounts on any transactions at $600 or more. Well, apparently there was a lot of backlash on this, and the Democrats had to make a drastic change to this. So we'll be discussing this, the government shutdown, which will happen tomorrow at midnight if they don't come to an agreement, as well as the debt limit ceiling to prevent a government default. A default has never happened before. This is where the government will literally run out of money. It will affect Social Security payments, they say, payments to the military, the child tax credit payments, Medicare, Medicaid, literally anything that has to do with funding from the government will be affected if they can't raise the government debt limit ceiling, as well as the stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion, and the physical infrastructure package, $1.2 trillion, which is supposed to be voted on tomorrow as well. So if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. Remember, new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's jump right in. We got a lot to discuss. Okay, so remember, I don't know, maybe a week or so ago, we discussed how one piece of the stimulus package, remember the stimulus package is huge and there's all sorts of things in here. There's a lot of details changing as they kind of release information to us. There's going to be a lot of things changing up until the final moment. One of the things is that they want the IRS to kind of be able to gather more money that is owed to the IRS. And one way of this is to more IRS enforcement. So they want the IRS to be able to collect money from tax cheats, basically people who might owe the IRS money. Basically, they're maybe selling items on eBay or Amazon or buying and selling things and maybe don't report the income. So the IRS wants to be able to look into your bank account. And they want to do this on a wide scale. And they want to basically be able to just go to the banks. So Bank of America, Huntington Bank, Chase Bank, any major national banks, and just go to these banks and say, hey, give us every single transaction for every person in America for every transaction of $600 or more. So, yeah, this is what they wanted to do. Apparently, there was a whole bunch of backlash over this, and the Democrats had to back off of this, and they had to change it. Yeah, and I remember reporting this to you guys, and man, I had a few thousand comments on that, and apparently the Democrats changed it. And here it is in black and white from Bloomberg. Democrats eye narrowing Biden's plan on bank reporting to the IRS. They have changed the account thresholds for this reporting. It's now going to be $10,000, up from the initial $600 plan. Yeah, So now they're going to only be reporting any transactions from any bank accounts that are at $10,000 or more instead of $600. My, what a difference in a change. Democrats in Congress are considering a plan that would require banks to report accounts with at least $10,000 to the IRS, well above the Biden administration's proposed $600 threshold. So any bank accounts with $600 in them would have been reported to the IRS. It's still unclear whether it'll be for any transactions. Well, I guess $600 really doesn't matter anymore because now it's going to be $10,000. So we can really just scratch the $600 out and put $10,000 in there. So now it will be $10,000. So the Democrats say we've made some significant movement on the number, says House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal said on Monday. The Massachusetts Democrats said he backed the $10,000 figure from day one of considering the proposal, and the Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden also supports it. So that has now changed. So unless you have $10,000 or more in your bank account, you no longer need to worry about, at least at this point, the IRS looking into your bank accounts on a day-to-day basis. I will keep you up to date. Like, as I said, as they get closer to the final passage of the stimulus package, there will be a lot of day-to-day changes up until the final passage. And that kind of leads us to the next step of Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator Bernie Sanders says no bipartisan infrastructure deal, which is supposed to be voted on tomorrow, unless the $3.5 trillion spending package bill passes first, which is, you guys know it as the stimulus package. It's also known as the American Families Plan. It's also known as the $3.5 trillion social infrastructure package. Has a whole lot of different names, mostly known as the stimulus package. Bernie Sanders is saying, he's actually telling people from the House, to the progressive members of the House, to vote no on this bipartisan infrastructure package unless the stimulus package is voted on the same day or before, which would be today or tomorrow. So we don't know if there's going to be a last-minute vote on the stimulus package. It would have to be voted on by tomorrow. But Bernie Sanders is telling progressive members to vote no on the infrastructure package tomorrow. As you can see here, Senator Bernie Sanders is urging House Democrats to reject the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package later this week, which is now tomorrow, unless the Senate first passes the $3.5 trillion spending bill, aka the stimulus package, favored by progressive lawmakers. Bernie says, quote, let's be crystal clear. If the bipartisan infrastructure bill is passed on its own on Thursday, this will be in violation of an agreement that was reached within the Democratic caucus in Congress, Bernie says. More importantly, it will end all leverage that we have to pass a major reconciliation bill. That means there will be no serious effort to address the long neglected crisis facing the working families of our country, the children, the elderly, the sick, and the poor. Wow, some strong words by Bernie. He says it also means that Congress will continue to ignore the existential threat to our country and planet with regard to climate change, Bernie says. I strongly urge my House colleagues to vote against the bipartisan infrastructure bill until Congress passes a strong reconciliation bill. Bernie Sanders and other progressives are adamant they will not vote for the bipartisan bill without an agreement in place for the larger spending plan first, the stimulus package. So yeah, Senator Bernie Sanders, who is the Senate budget chairman, the person in charge of the stimulus package, basically just urged all the progressive Democrats, which is like 100 Democrats in the House, to vote no on the physical infrastructure package, saying that the stimulus package could be in severe jeopardy if they pass the physical infrastructure package bill tomorrow, if the stimulus package bill isn't passed tomorrow. Yeah, so Bernie Sanders says don't pass the physical infrastructure package bill tomorrow because we need to pass the stimulus package bill still first. Wow. Let me know your thoughts on this. it's really a tough one here. I really don't know what's going to happen here. Oftentimes, I have a good feeling on whether or not a vote is going to pass here. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this because we're going to have some Republicans voting yes on this. We're going to have some Democrats voting yes. We're going to have some Democrats voting no. And we're going to have some Republicans voting no on this physical infrastructure package bill tomorrow. It could go either way. It could go either way. Man, I'm not sure. Now, mind you, this physical infrastructure package bill is really good for our country. It's roads, it's bridges, it's clean drinking water. It's literally like taking lead drinking pipes out of our country and replacing them. It's building broadband. It's doing also, it's going to create millions of jobs over the course of the next 8 to 10 years. It's doing all sorts of really good things, and it's pumping billions of dollars into our economy over all 50 states. All 50 states are getting billions of dollars for physical infrastructure and all sorts of things over the course of the next 8 to 10 years. It's fully paid for. It's bipartisan. Both Republicans and Democrats support it. Mitch McConnell from the Republicans of the Senate even voted for it. So it is a really good bill, but it might not pass tomorrow. Now, if it doesn't pass tomorrow, the House can simply re-vote on it at a later date. They could re-vote on it after the stimulus package is passed. A week later, 10 days later, they can re-vote on it again. The Senate has already passed this bill, okay? Just if it does fail tomorrow, that does not mean the bill is dead. They can simply vote on it again. So just keep that in mind. This is a really good bill for America. I consider myself a patriot. I consider myself an independent. I like to look at myself from a middle point of view. It's a really good bill. We have not really had an infrastructure bill. By the way, both Republicans and Democrats have been for infrastructure for a long, long time. And both sides have been wanting to pass infrastructure for a long, long time. So this is a long overdue bill. I do think it's going to pass one way or another. The real question is, should it be passed tomorrow before the stimulus package? And if it's passed tomorrow before the stimulus package, is the stimulus package in jeopardy? Because will some people not vote for the stimulus package later on, a few days later, when the stimulus package is ready? So that is the bigger question. Yeah, and then the other question is, will we see a government shutdown bill tomorrow, September 30th at midnight? The government will shut down tomorrow if they don't come to an agreement with that. And then the big question is, will we have a debt limit ceiling collapse? And will we be able to raise the debt limit ceiling before October 18th, which is when Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says that that is the estimated date on when we will reach the debt limit ceiling and the government will literally default and run out of money. Yes, the government will run out of money for the first time ever. I get a lot of people saying, how can the government run out of money? Well, we have this stupid artificial debt limit ceiling, which needs to be passed by Congress every 1 to 2 years. It's been passed 60 times in the last 80 years or so. And it's normally done on a bipartisan basis. I know it's a ridiculous thing, to be honest. Both Republicans and Democrats saying we should just get rid of it. We're like the only country in the world that even does it this way. Not only do we have to approve bills through Congress, so stimulus packages need to be approved, like the 2017 Trump tax cuts get approved by Congress. The stimulus package is getting approved by Congress. But then they also have a debt limit ceiling. In addition to that, it's like a double things need to get approved by a Congress again. So not only do stimulus or spending packages and the military, everything gets approved by Congress once, but then they have a debt limit ceiling that needs to be approved again. Yeah, and really a lot of people are questioning that they really shouldn't even have this secondary feature because all it does is just become a political powerhouse that if we have a Democratic president, then Republicans are oh, maybe we shouldn't do it. And if we have a Republican president, the Democrats are like, well, maybe we should hold this hostage. And it's become a political cat and mouse game where one party can hold it against the other, and it's just not really a good thing for our country anymore. Kind of like the government shutdown issue, which is potentially going to have a government shutdown tomorrow, where they have to do an annual budget for a government shutdown every single year, which in itself is ridiculous. That should be at the bare minimum every 2 years, I think, personally. To have to do that every single year is ludicrous. And again, Republicans and Democrats just cannot agree on anything. It's a miracle that they both agreed on physical infrastructure bill. The only reason they did is because physical infrastructure has been needed for so long, that it was like the easiest thing for them to agree on because, like I said, Republicans and Democrats have been trying to pass physical infrastructure forever, that they actually got a physical infrastructure bill passed in the Senate. Can you actually believe that? It's going to pass in the House one way or another. Question is it going to pass tomorrow before the stimulus package bill? Yeah. The other thing is the Democrats are now considering possibly doing a government funding bill agreement with the Republicans without a debt limit hike. So the Republicans actually had a bill to do a government funding bill to prevent a government shutdown bill. But now the Republicans are considering maybe not doing this and letting the government shut down. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Because now the Democrats are saying, well, we really don't want to have a government shutdown because it would make the Democratic Party look bad. Democrats are in control of the House, Senate, and presidency. Boy, that could really make the Democrats look bad. And the Republicans offered a counter bill from the one that passed in the House, and the Republicans refused to pass it in the Senate. Remember that combined bill that was for a debt limit, prevent the debt limit and prevent the government shutdown. It also had hurricane and disaster relief. It also had aid for the Afghan refugees, which I don't believe should be in there. Well, the Republicans have a counter bill which has all those things, including the aid for the refugees. It does not have the debt limit ceiling in there because remember, Republicans want the Democrats to do that on their own through the reconciliation process. The Republican bill also has more foreign aid in there. It has over $1 billion in there for the Iron Dome for Israel from Mitch McConnell. So Mitch McConnell's bill actually has more foreign aid in there, which again, obviously I don't agree with the foreign aid in there at all. This is an emergency bill for America to keep our government open, and we're putting foreign aid in there. But nonetheless, both the Democrats and the Republicans somehow think that we should be putting foreign aid into these bills. Figure that one out. But it's interesting because the Democrats at first kind of thought we shouldn't make a deal to do this because if we agree to the government shutdown bill, then they kind of lose their leverage on the debt limit ceiling. Okay, and they were trying to get the Republicans to deal on raising the debt limit ceiling. But now it looks like the Republicans are just never going to raise the debt limit ceiling through a standalone bill unless we literally go until like close to October 18th. And then maybe the Republicans might change their mind. Maybe. Like if we get close to that date and like the Democrats are trying to still pass the stimulus package and like we're on the brink of a default, which Social Security payments could greatly be impacted if the debt ceiling is not raised. And we've seen Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer say this. We've seen different congressmen and senators say this. This is why I show you these headlines literally here from Yahoo Finance. If you've been watching the show, I mean, you've seen the senators say this, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer say this. Payments to the military could be in debt or could be at risk. Child tax credit payments could be at risk. Medicare, Medicaid payments or everything could be at risk. Anything that has to do with the government funding could be at risk if the debt ceiling is not raised by October 18th. And that's why I like to show you guys this stuff on the screen. Here it is from Yahoo Finance so that you know that this stuff is real. Okay, now this does not have to do with the government shutdown that would happen tomorrow, but this has to do with the debt limit ceiling if it's not raised by or around October 18th. Okay, so I don't want to scare anybody, but that's why I like to show you guys this stuff because this is real stuff. Okay, this is headlines that are in the news. Here it is from Yahoo Finance, and that's why I like to show you guys it. The interviews coming directly from Janet Yellen, coming directly from Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, coming directly from Senator Bernie Sanders. He said it the other day, just so you guys know that this stuff is real. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think the Republicans will change their mind? And because they could literally just do a simple vote in the Senate and make all this go away with 10 votes in the Senate, along with the 50 from the Democrats, to raise the debt limit ceiling. Like we seen, what was that, 24 hours ago? And just raise the debt limit ceiling, all this would go away. Do you think the Republicans would change their mind if we got close to that date in October? Or do you think they just want to punish the Democrats? I've seen a lot of comments in the comments section, and it's just, ugh. Or do you think the Republicans are just, they're just gonna, whatever happens, happens? So, you know, the Democrats are gonna probably try to put it in the stimulus package and do it through reconciliation, which they're working on behind the scenes to do all this. But the question is, are they going to have time to do this? And we got to get Joe Manchin on board and Kirsten Sinema, and all the Democrats are going to have to agree to everything in the bill and do it in time. And then we have to hope that the Republicans don't delay the stimulus package, because remember, Republicans can do some tricky things. We've seen this with the third stimulus check package. Remember when they had the Republicans made them read the whole bill on the floor, and that took like, how long did that take? 18 hours to read the whole bill on the floor. And then they have hours of debate. And remember how there's different paths they can go. They can go the shorter route or the longer route on hours of debate. So it's not just like a clear-cut decision. Like, it's called the reconciliation process because it's a process. It's not just like, hey, let's vote. Hey, let's vote. Like that standalone bill was for that standalone bill for the government shutdown and the government debt limit ceiling. So it's going to be a process to pass this stimulus package. So the Democrats are working on it, but I'll keep you up to date on all this stuff here. It'd be a lot easier to just do a standalone bill. And also, from what I understand, is the Democrats are now considering the idea of doing a standalone bill to prevent the government shutdown. But now the Republicans are maybe considering the idea of not doing a government shutdown bill. We may have a government shutdown tomorrow. Yeah. Like I said, it's a political cat and mouse game. And unfortunately, the American people and the American economy and America is to blame, or is going to take the blunt of the blow. And by the way, in case you were wondering, the politicians do get paid during a government shutdown. That's right. The politicians are considered essential employees during a government shutdown. That's right. I'll have more information for you guys on that in the next video. I can't make this stuff up, guys. I cannot make this stuff up. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Yeah, don't worry. We'll get through this together. I do have a feeling that we're going to get through all this. I think we may see a shutdown. I have a feeling that we're not going to see a default, though. I have a feeling that we're not going to see a default. I think that the Democrats and the Republicans are either going to put their differences aside, or they're going to pass the stimulus package before the default. For some reason, I seem to have confidence in America, and I think that they're going to not let the country default? You tell me your thoughts in the comments. Maybe I'm just an optimist. Make sure to subscribe down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how Senator Bernie Sanders wants to add a $1,000 stimulus debit card into the next stimulus package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.